could happen here.
Oh God, ये बात भी है.
Shall we start admitting people or?
Yeah, sure. We'll start admitting them. Give a few minutes before people join.
Afifa, are you recording?
Yeah, I am actually.
So lovely to see people trickling in. We're gonna start in a few minutes, but if you guys like, please feel free to unmute, introduce yourself, or introduce yourself on chat. Your name, well, we can see your names, but your school, your grade level, or if you're a teacher or PYF member, just mention that. And try to get your cams ready in the meantime so you can switch them on once we start the workshop. Oh, so you took initiative? Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying, should we pick on someone to introduce themselves?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Do that.
Okay. Let's see. Fahad, since you joined us first, why don't you go ahead? Fahad, we can't hear you. I think you need to unmute.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, I'm Fahad. And I was the ex-student of His Highness Sheikh Rashid Al Maktoum Pakistani School, Dubai. So the last time I was with you guys in the MUM.
Nice. Wonderful.
So as I moved to Pakistan, so I was looking forward to your events, but the past workshop I wasn't able to join. Even today I wasn't able to join, but I was in my siblings' home, so I was like, okay, let's hop in for 30 minutes or an hour. Let's learn something.
That's great, Farooq.
Yeah, that's really nice that you even took 30 minutes out.
Yeah.
So who's next?
Let's choose, I think Furqan Hafiz, he joined after Fahad.
Okay.
Furqan, would you like to introduce yourself? And
Hello.
hey, Furqan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Furqan Hafiz. I'm in grade 12, studying in Pakistan Islamic Secondary School, Sharjah.
Well, that's great. I studied in the same school, Furqan.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
Furqan, if you don't mind opening your webcam as well while you're at it.
Okay, I'll do that.
No pressure.
No pressure.
It's just like everyone's waiting.
Furqan's a regular, but hopefully you'll be able to get his cam on as well.
I have a bit of problem with my camera, so I might see if it works well or not.
All right, no worries. Take your time. See if we can put it on at any point during the workshop. So now let's pick on someone else. Samir. Samir, are you there? Not sure if you can hear me.
He's writing that he has a mic problem.
Oh, I didn't
Mic
see
problem.
that. Sorry. Okay, we can go with Huda.
Hi guys, my name is Huda and I study in grade 12 in like Pakistani school Ajman. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I have a hobby for writing. I don't know why I just
Great.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing
I
to hear.
poems and everything.
That's
And
good.
I'm writing a book as of right now and I am in hopes of getting it published. So wish me luck.
Yeah, we hope you get there. That sounds interesting. What's the genre?
I was gonna say that. Is it?
Yeah,
It's a poetry book. Like it's a fable of a girl. I can. Let's just leave it for that.
No,
Leave
it's
it at that.
okay. You can just
Yeah.
share it with us once you're published, inshallah. Pretty
Yeah.
soon. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
inshallah. Inshallah. Just wish me luck, okay?
Inshallah.
Best of luck. Now let's go with Aina Ali. Aina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Aina, I think your mic is on mute. No, yeah.
Actually, guys, I have to duck out. So what I'm gonna do is just introduce myself, put the guidelines, and Tabish identify himself as a volunteer, and then let you guys continue with the introduction and the workshop. Yep, sounds good.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining us for the 10th workshop for the PYF Winter Academy. And most of you know me by now because you've been emailing and messaging you. So I'm the head of education, the current PYF executive board. And our volunteer for today's workshop will be moderating is Tabish. Tabish, mini introduction.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Tabish, and I'm by profession a management consultant based in the UK. And I will be moderating this workshop. So pretty excited about this workshop in terms of writing. I love to do that as well as part of my job as well.
Great. I'm just quickly going to walk us through some guidelines that will hopefully make this workshop a better experience for everyone. and then duck out into a PYF meeting. But so let me just present. So basically, if you were in a classroom, we would say, please put your phones away while we're, unless they're needed for a particular activity, but we're all on our devices right now, so we can't do that. So the equivalent of that for an online workshop is please try to focus as much as possible. Try not to be distracted by all the millions of tabs and messaging apps that are open on your device right now, so that you can make the most of the experience. Secondly, we want these workshops to be safe spaces for everyone to come and learn openly and share. If you have a question to ask, if you have things you want to clarify, you should feel free to ask and do that. So please try to withhold your judgment of the participants, of anyone in the space. Try not to make them feel uncomfortable, basically. And if possible, please keep your videos on. It makes a big difference to the kind of participation, and also to interact with the leads. It's just a professional thing to do as well. So try to keep your cams on, if only for a brief amount of time, or whenever possible, especially during activities, Q&A sessions. And while you keep your cams on, also keep your mind wide open so that you can absorb all the wonderful information that Afifa and Habiba are going to share with you. This is not a seminar or a lecture. This is a workshop, an interactive workshop. So please be here with the mindset to unmute and talk and discuss, or put your questions and thoughts on the chat, while keeping them relevant to the workshop so that we can keep up with our deadline to finish. And finally, yes, please enjoy. One last thing before we conclude this is, Afifa and Habiba, how do you prefer the participants interact? Should they just unmute and speak when you ask a question, or do you want them to use the raise hand function? What would you like them to do?
I think they can go with the raise hand function, so we're able to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak.
Great, awesome. And then Habiba and Afifa will call on the relevant person to unmute and speak. One last thing, so Habiba and Afifa really organizes really very well, and they've prepared this Word document that has instructions for all the activities that are going to happen, and I'm actually dropping that in the chat right now. And with that, I'm now going to hand over to Afifa and Habiba and actually duck out myself. So all the best with the workshop, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, we need testimonials at the end of this. So
Right.
there's testimonials at the end of the workshop to the participants. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye, Bushra.
Bye, Bushra. All right.
Okay.
Are we waiting for 5 minutes for more people to join us?
I think we can go and start with introductions in our
Great. So just everyone else, in the meantime, can you download the document that Bushra shared with us and leave that open, because we're going to be using that for activities. Okay, so Habiba, you can continue.
Okay, everyone can see my screen? Okay.
Yes, it's visible.
Thanks, Minna.
Thank you, Maya. So welcome to the Research Writing for Hard Sciences workshop. Let me just dive deep right into who exactly are we. My name is Habiba Tahir. I graduated as an electrical engineer from American University of Sharjah back in 2016, seems like ages ago. One of my most memorable memories from that time was that our senior design, our thesis project, ended up winning second place in the 11th IEEE UAE Senior Design Competition. We won the US Student Research Award. And from there, I learned that there are different ways to write your research papers. There are different ways, you'll never get bored, and you'll have to keep writing abstract and conclusion all over again. From there on, I transitioned to content writing. I started writing white papers and video scripts and product descriptions for tech startups. It was really interesting. Then I moved to creative English copywriting. I currently work at Impact BBDeal, and my current client is someone you might know a little bit about. That's Etisalat. So that's about it for me.
Thank you, Habiba. So my name is Afifa Farooq, and I did my bachelor's in chemical engineering. I also graduated the same year as Habiba, 2016, from American University of Sharjah. After I finished my bachelor's, I so I love research. So what I did was I moved on to master's, and I did that in biomedical engineering. Basically, what my master is entirely comprised of was lab work, just writing a whole bunch of papers, one after the other for every single course. I did an entire thesis, which was on cancer treatment. So I do have like a lot of background in terms of research writing, and currently I'm working in 3D printing at Rashid Hospital with Dubai Health Authority. And my work involves 3D printing, obviously, and a bit of white paper writing, and I do a lot of research with different hospitals all over UAE, and just like writing papers, coming up with new research. So that's basically a short introduction about me.
Okay, so let's move on to the icebreaker. I see that some people, if you could please turn on your cams, it would be very easy for us to make sure that engagement is high over here. But let's start with an icebreaker. So I want you all to take a look outside your window. Just take a look outside. I want you to see just one thing that seems interesting to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw two people at one time on a whiteboard. Will draw what they see outside, and everyone will have to guess it. It's going to be fun, and we'll give everyone, you can just unmute and take guesses. We won't be using raise hands for this. So let me just open the whiteboard.
Yeah, and in the meantime, do I pick on two people that we want to?
Yeah.
Let's see. Abdullah did not have the chance to introduce himself. So Abdullah, I'm picking on you to draw on the whiteboard, and let me get another person in here.
This is my line. So clearly I'm not an artist. I'm just dividing.
We're both very bad. We're engineers.
Yeah.
We apologize. And Sabiha.
Okay.
Abdullah and Sabiha. Could you share what you have outside your screen?
If you're not able to take control, you can click more and annotate.
It's on the top.
Okay. So what's Abdullah drawing?
No pressure, Abdullah. Sabiha, did you get a chance to start drawing? Hey, what do you know? He's better than us.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to go ahead and discuss what this looks like, go ahead. Just unmute and take a guess. Okay, Sabiha is not responding, so we'll ask Nabiha if you'd like to draw on the other side.
Hello guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm sorry I did not hear what you said about the activity. Can I please hear it again?
Yeah, sure. So just take a look outside your window. Just take a look at one thing that you can see and draw it. And everyone will have to guess what it is.
There we go. What?
Okay.
So there is a box.
Okay. You guys try to go for trees or building or something. Okay.
I want Aina to guess what Abdullah is drawing.
Yeah.
Aina.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here. I think it's a parking lot.
A parking lot.
Abdullah, don't answer that. Let's get someone else in here for Khan. Furkan, are you there?
Yeah, it might be a television. He wrote Geo.
Oh yeah,
that's what I thought. I'm wondering if Abdullah is in Pakistan right now or something.
Okay, Fahad, why don't you guess what Nabiha is drawing? Fahad, are you there?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
A street and a car maybe with the headlight. Not the headlight. The street lights. Yeah.
Okay. So Abdullah and Nabiha, would you guys like to tell us what you drew?
Yes, I think the guess was correct.
Yeah.
I live just beside a main road, so I think that would explain the car and the street light.
It's a good drawing.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
yesterday I tried to draw a balcony and it looked like a jellyfish.
Jelly.
So
Yeah.
you know,
So this is better than that.
this is artistic.
Abdullah, what about
Thank
you?
you.
Tell us if you're in Pakistan.
No, I'm not in Pakistan.
So where is it?
I just saw a big TV.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, so that was the correct guess. Does anyone else want to draw? We need 2 more people. Afifa, can you go ahead and pick?
Yeah. How about Sahar
That was a bad line.
and Samir? So Sahar and Samir, do you guys know what to do? Okay, I think they might be.
Yeah, we can pick. Okay, Samir
Okay,
is
there's
drawing.
Samir. Seems like a road again.
Manahil, do you want to take the other side?
Yes, sure.
Okay, there.
Good job. Like Samir is actually drawing pretty well.
Does anyone want to guess what Samir drew?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a road and a guy who's crossing the zebra crossing and
A red guy.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
could be.
You can say stick man.
Yeah, someone ran over that guy.
It's possible. Oh, Manahil, those are.
Yeah,
skills.
those are some skills. We should hire her.
Look at the division. Oh, I really like the division of the window.
Oh, interesting. She
Yeah.
seems to have some lawn outside.
Yeah. And it looks
Okay,
like
well, that's it.
Is
Ah,
this fire?
okay.
Are those flames?
Let's not guess, Habiba. Let's get other people to.
Yeah, anyone want to
Maha.
take a guess?
I think the car. I think the person is dead. He's like dead. The car ran over him.
Okay, what about the other one?
Oh,
Okay.
you're asking me?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's a garden, and there's a tree, there's moon, and there's grass.
Okay.
yeah.
Sahar, are you there? Because I feel like she's either on mute or. Should we wait for 5 seconds for her to respond?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Samir and Manahil, I think the drawing was clear enough for everyone to take a correct guess.
All right.
So yeah. So with that, we'll end our whiteboard icebreaker, and let's go to our presentation. Just one second. Okay, so this is the table of contents. We have divided our workshop into 5 different elements. We'll be talking about choosing a topic with credible sources. Sometimes you choose a topic and you'll find out that there are not enough sources present. Where do you go from there? Afifa will be talking about that. Then we'll discuss creating outlines and structuring paragraphs, We'll tell you how to fight plagiarism, how to present your results, conclusion, and future work. And at the end, we'll explain what references and appendix are and how you can make sure that you follow the correct format for all these things. So let's move on to
Habiba, just 1 second. Fahad, I think you're not on mute. Could you please mute yourself? All right, thank you.
So let's go on to a very important question, which is basically based around this workshop, which is what exactly are hard sciences? Does anyone want to take a guess of what they are, or what are the examples of a subject that falls under hard sciences?
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Hard science would be, deep science subjects like biology or chemistry. Physics is it has a mixture of math, I think. But when we go deep with science in physics, I think that would also go for hard science.
That's absolutely correct. So hard sciences are workings of the natural world. They are basically natural sciences, and they involve science subjects where you can perform an experiment in a controlled environment. You can gather results, and then you can base your findings on those results. Now, there is a slight difference between soft and hard sciences. If you repeat an experiment in the same controlled environment for a hard science subject, the results must be the same. For soft sciences, being different is completely okay. Some of the subjects that fall under hard sciences are physics, biology, chemistry, and astronomy, like was mentioned before. So with this basic explanation, I'll hand it over to Afifa for talking about choosing a topic with credible sources.
All right, so thank you, Habiba. So basically, before you start a research paper or any paper in any field that you're working in or majoring in, you will have to, Habiba, sorry, we can't see that. Can you go back? Yeah. So the first thing that you have to do is choose a topic such that it is interesting not only to you, but to your audience as well. So if you're talking about artificial food, for example, which is the example we're going to follow pretty much throughout the entire presentation, the word artificial food is something that's very new and trendy nowadays, right? But what you want to do is just that word itself. What you're going to do first is, let's go to the next slide. You want to look at what the word actually means. So the first thing you do for any topic that you're given, you're usually given a general topic, and you get to choose like the specific direction that you can write your paper in. So you go to Google, just type in artificial food, then you go to the encyclopedia or Wikipedia and read up on what it is. Now, when I say read up on what it is, doesn't mean you can use Wikipedia as a source. Never ever do that, please, guys. Okay, and then after that, what you want to do is look at relevance. So you can see over there on slides that you go to the news section of Google. Why do we do this? Is because anything that's most recent and relevant is actually the most interesting thing, I would say, right? For you guys, if something's new and interesting, not only will you be interested in it, but pretty much your audience, like if your colleagues or your friends were supposed to read your paper or your professor, they'd be more interested in it. So this is like a little tip or trick that will automatically give your paper an edge to other people's. And then you can do different things like over here if you see on the right hand side, you can add more things or words to your actual topic, like artificial food versus natural food, and it'll give you different topics that you can dive into, things that really interest you. So the most important thing is you want to make sure that whatever you're writing about interests you, because the minute that you don't actually look at that, you're sort of gonna get bored and not write properly. Okay, so Habiba, let's go to the next slide, hopefully. Before I go into activity related to artificial food, let me go over different types of sources that you have that you will be using actually in your college years. There's primary sources. So primary sources are actually divided into two main types. They can either be questionnaires, surveys, interviews that you do, or experiments that you conduct in labs. So these are more in person. This is direct data that you're collecting from someone yourself. So that's a primary source in that sense. They're also divided into journals written by other people, letters, speeches, documents. Basically, these are first person or written by actual people, right? So those are primary sources. Secondary sources, this is the bulk or the main thing that you guys will actually be using in your college years or when you, inshallah, join university. So you have obviously books and you have journal articles. Now, journal articles are basically articles that are actually published by journals. These journals are usually affiliated to either engineering societies, medical societies, or if you're in the sciences, they're affiliated to sciences. So these are all a bunch of experts that they come together. They look at these papers, they see if they're credible. So these are all verified. So obviously you'll have to pick like credible sources that we'll go into pretty soon. And the other thing I want to mention here is for secondary sources, you also have encyclopedias. Now, if you're writing a research paper, the first thing that I or anyone would want you to do is define something, because then your audience won't understand what you're talking about. So first define something. So that's why you'll use encyclopedias. And just another tip, that reviews or review articles are something that you can read before starting your research paper. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so just a brief idea of where you can find good sources from. Your university library, obviously a lot of people due to COVID are not going to university in person, but you always have websites that give you access. You also can just go check out Google Scholar. That will easily give you access. You have things like Mendeley. This is just, how do I put this? This is a reference citer or like a citation website. Citation basically means you have to, whatever you guys write, you have to put a source next to it. You can't just basically keep writing. So yeah, the other things that you can do is, how do you check that your sources, you have different, okay. So how do you check that your sources are credible? So you have different types, right? So you have surveys. If you want to give surveys to your university, if you want to give surveys, so you're just gonna pick a audience, obviously. Basically, so if you have, if you're working in the environmental sciences, you basically would go over what you would be doing. So, excuse me, Habiba, could you continue, please? I mean, I want you to continue the presentation.
Okay, I am. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Sorry, we got a question. Umar has raised a hand. Umar, you have a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Amir.
Okay.
Okay, got it down, I think. All right, you can continue.
All right. Okay, thank you. So going back to here, why do we use Google and not DuckDuckGo? Okay, so basically Google has more credible sources, generally speaking. So it's easier to go to Google. Now let's go back to here. This is actually something we extracted off Mendeley. And what we want to look at here is that you want to go for the most recent articles, obviously, because those are the most relevant. All right, so basically, Habiba, let's go to the next slide.
Which is, we have the activity over here.
Okay, so can everyone look at the Word document that we shared? And open the links that we have on there. So now what I want you to do is open all 3 links, and I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes, and hopefully, can you identify different topics that you would want to write about, and just write it out in the chat. So I'll pick on one of you to answer.
Okay. So guys, the timer has started. You have 5 minutes, 2, 3 or 5 minutes.
Manahil, if you scroll to the top, Bushra shared a Word document. Do you see it? Scroll to the top of the conversation.
But I cannot see it in the conversation either.
Okay, let me share it here again. Give me a second. Habiba, could you please share it?
Yeah.
Tabish, do you have the document for the instructions?
Yeah, I've just shared it. I'm just putting it now.
Hamza, could you?
Everyone, could you please mute your
Yeah,
mic?
please remain muted at all times unless we ask you to speak.
So I guess one of you have to share it somehow. I'm not getting there.
Yep. Just 1 second, I'll share.
Okay, sorry about this, guys. And I just hold it a minute. We are having some
technical issues.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just got now.
Okay.
Thanks, Tabish.
I see a weird text in your file.
I'm sorry, Abdullah, could you repeat what you said?
I can't see the document still.
Yeah, some weird language or something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just share the links directly.
Yeah, do that. Thank you, Habiba. So anyway, in the meantime, while Habiba is sharing the links, I want to tell you guys what I want you to do. I want you to identify different topics that you can write about for your research paper. So what you'll do is go to each one of these links and I'll give you 2 to 5 minutes and you all can type it all down in your chat. So you can pick, you can have either one research topic or if you have the time, you can write more. Okay? So yeah. There we go. Habiba shared one link. So you guys can get started. Okay, so can everyone click on the links okay right now? You can just raise your hand or... Okay, the task is Manahil to go to any one of these 3 links and pick a topic you want to write about. So you can come up with this topic on your own. And so this is all about artificial food. So just write down the heading or the name of the topic that you want to talk about. And you can write it all in the chat. And so we'll go over it one by one or something. So all of you can write down the topics in your chats. And we're going to give you like 2 minutes from now. So go ahead. And anyone who's done, just let us know.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but are you trying to say that the topic we read from all 3 of these links, like any topic, we have to write that in the chat box, right?
Yeah, or you can come up with your own. That would be better, actually. Just while you're reading one of these links, just come up with your own topic.
Oh, it can be anything rather than artificial foods?
No, it has to be related to the links, but you can come up with something related to that.
Oh, okay.
So you can take a minute or 2 to read one of those links and go through it.
Share the instructions again. I hope it works now, this document.
Thank you, Tabish. And maybe Habiba can share her screen and open the Word document on there.
Yeah. So if you can't see it over here, over there, you can just take a look over here.
Morning, oh, honey in the evening, say honey.
Qasim, could you? Thank you. Wow, we have a lot of trolls on here.
Are Hamza and Qasim still in the chat? Should we make them for the first time?
I know. Wow, they have left. It's okay, Fahad. Thank you so much for joining us for this time. Hope to see you next time.
Bye, Fahad.
Okay, has anyone come up with the topic? Abdullah, did you come up with the topic yet?
No, but I'm trying to come up with the music.
Clearly, everyone is right now. Okay, I'm gonna pick on someone and they can hopefully tell me a topic that they came up with. Tahir, are you there? You can just type it out. You don't have to say it if you don't want to. Okay,
Or maybe not around.
yeah, maybe. Maha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think of one, but I'm not really sure about it.
Well, there's no wrong answer, so go right ahead.
Okay, let me put it in the chat box.
Yep, go ahead. Okay, in the meantime, let's say Furqan, would you like to write what you came up with?
Just write in the chat box.
Okay, no worries.
The answers?
Can artificial food put an end to food wastage is what Maha wrote.
That's really good, Ma.
I really like that, yeah. That would be, put an end to food wastage. Interesting.
Like while they're filming the food ads, you know.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the thing. What we want you guys to do is think about what the topic you can actually write about is. So can you actually like look for credible sources and stuff like that for this exact topic? So
Anna has written something as well.
Put an end to famine. Well, Anna, do you want to say anything about this topic? What do you think? Anna? Okay. You can just type it out. Yeah.
Sorry, it could be dangerous too because artificial food is mainly made up of plastic. That could be a topic too.
Yeah, that's a really interesting topic to explore. Is it dangerous to eat? Is it just dangerous in general to produce? Stuff like that. So you guys are coming up with things. Let's see, Manahil, do you have something for us?
Manahil, can you hear us?
Okay, Furkan, it seems you typed your topic to me separately, so I'm just gonna share it with everyone here. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, I didn't know.
No worries about that. Just wanted to share with everyone what you wrote. Does replication of natural food through means provide all the nutrients? That's a really good topic and something that I would love to research and write about too. See, so you guys get the idea how artificial intelligence can support food security. Yeah, artificial intelligence is actually one of the topics that we're going to continue with here, right, Habiba?
So let's go on with the answers that we got.
Right. Okay, so now that you have the topics.
I believe we have studied about artificial protein in class 10 and biology, biotechnology. That was created by a professor from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Am I right?
Right. What did you learn? So related to that, what would you want to research?
Yeah, I would like to research, but it was created through bacteria and some that stuff. I don't remember it much, but
no, it's okay. You don't have to remember. But like you found it interesting enough to research, right? So that's the idea.
Yeah, when I was studying that topic at that time, I was like, that was the same question raised in my mind which I asked today.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. See, so basically you generate interest by things that you're interested in. So you guys made it your own. You made this topic your own and you added stuff to it that interested you. So Habiba, if you could go back to the previous slide. No, the one before this. Okay. So I want to go over how sources can be credible. How do you figure out if sources are credible? Now that you have specific topics in mind, what are you going to do next? You're going to go over, obviously, if you have not the number of sources, enough number of sources to write your research topic, right? So you can do it either by collecting primary sources, in which case, let's go for a survey, for example. Surveys basically would be if you want to gauge or assess the level of something. So you would write a survey, and do you just give your survey out to anyone on the street? No, right? So what you're going to do is, if you're talking about artificial food, for example, you'd like to give it to someone who'd still like know the basics about it. So maybe you would give it to only people within your major or within only your classroom where people have already researched the basics of this topic. So those, you have to pick and choose your audience to know if you're going to get a good result. Because if someone doesn't know about a certain topic or are not experts on it, then maybe you won't get the right response. Or even if someone is not a response, is not an expert, you just need to figure out what your targeted audience is. In terms of books, how do you figure out they're credible? The easiest way is just go look at the author, Wikipedia the author, see if they have any expertise in the topic, if they've written other books, or if they have interviews or something that you can look at to see if they're credible. And in terms of editorials, you have journal articles that I mentioned before. So these journal articles are published by different companies or different societies. Like you have the IEEE Society, which is related to the Electrical Engineers Society. You have medical societies. So all of these are well backed because they are all, you have different experts coming in and reviewing every single paper within these. So you just want to like Google the name of the journal to check if you have a whole bunch of people, experts in the field that are reviewing these papers. There's also impact factor, which you can look at later, but this is too high level for you guys right now. And so the last thing that I want to talk about is how relevant is your source to current times. So if you go and look at something in 2010, it's obviously how research works is it's updated every single year or every single month by one scientist or one researcher builds up on information provided by the previous researchers. So something that's been published in 2010 will not necessarily be relevant to something that's going on right now. So try not to use resources that are more than 10 years old is my recommendation. More than 5 actually, but if you can't find enough sources, then 10. Obviously you have to gauge for each different topic, there's a different requirement. So I think for choosing a topic, I'm done, and I'm going to give it over to Habiba to go over paragraph structuring.
Okay, so now that you have the topic, what do we do next? The first thing that you need to make sure when you have a research topic is to create an outline. Now, what does an outline do? It helps you organize your thoughts, the main points of your research topic in a proper manner. So let's say a reader is going through your research paper. He'll just look at it because you have prepared your research paper so that one point is given after the other. You decide which point needs to go first, like are they prepared for the results, are they prepared for the conclusion. It also helps you make sure that you don't forget something in your research paper. So I do have an activity for outline. If everyone pays attention to this, this will be very helpful while performing that activity. The first thing that comes in an outline is the abstract. Now, abstract is the one thing that you decide upon whether you want to read the research paper or not. So while you were going through Mendeley or Google, you were looking at the different topics for artificial food, the first thing that you will read is the abstract. It's written in 250 to 300 words because it summarizes your topic sentence. It summarizes your research paper. It talks about why you chose that study or experiment, or what has been done previously about it. What were the results? What were the findings? What are your conclusions, interpretations, future work? So it's very difficult to write. Even I feel like personally abstract is very difficult for me to write because you have 50 pages of research paper that you need to suddenly compress into 300 words. It's a bit tough. So it's always recommended that you write your abstract at the very end of your paper. So you're done with introduction, you're done with results, experiment, conclusion, future work. That's when you decide to write the abstract. Then we move on to introduction. Now, introduction is very important in telling the reader why you chose the topic. What was the purpose? What is the problem that you're going to be solving? So let's say your paper is COVID-19 vaccinations. So why did you choose that topic? What were your aims and purposes? Literature review would add what has been done previously. You would, let's say, talk about the previous pandemics. You would talk about Spanish influenza, the time it took to create a vaccine for that pandemic. And then basically you don't need to explain all those details in the body of the text, in the methodology, in the results, because everyone knows what the context of the situation is. So again, if my introduction was COVID-19 vaccinations, 2.1 would be Spanish influenza. 2.2 would be the time it took to create vaccines for Spanish influenza. 2.3 would be the rest of pandemics in history, or maybe I want to talk about different countries that how they control the entire pandemic. Then I move to methodology. Now, the thing about methodology is that it explains basically the overall design of how you're going to perform the experiment. Let's say that you're saying that I'm going to use this particular technology or this particular equipment. Okay, fine. You make sure the reader understands from beginning to end how you're going to perform the experiment. If you're using a tool, you even explain the size of that particular instrument, so that based on your results, whether they're successful or not, people can go back to it and they can refer to it as to why it failed or why it didn't fail. And again, overall design would be RNA is the vaccine that's being created for COVID-19. So you would say that that's 3.1, 3.2, the challenges, the requirements. When we move on to results and discussions, in results, you make sure that you report the findings of your experiment with visual elements. These could be tables, figures, graphs. They should be easier for the reader to understand. Some people, they don't want to read the entire text. So they'll just look at the pie graph, they'll just look at the percentage, they'll just look at the graph to see what it is indicating. But I'll be talking more about results, discussion, conclusion, future work later on. So I'll move on to the next part, which is basically the activity. If anyone wants to volunteer to read this paragraph out loud, please raise your hand, or Afifa and Tabish can choose a volunteer to read it for me.
Okay. Let's give someone 5 seconds to volunteer. Okay.
Mahanu, raise your hand. Maha, you want to go further?
Okay, sure. Generation of food waste, FW, continues to be a global challenge and high on the political agenda. One of the main reasons for its generation is the absence of detailed data on the amount, timing, and reasons for created waste. This paper discusses the design, the application, and investigates the Internet of Things based FW monitoring system to capture waste data during manufacturing in real time and make it available to all the stakeholders in a food supply chain. A case study of ready meal factory comprises of design and architecture for tracking FW, including both hardware and software, its implementation in the factory, and the positive data-driven results achieved. The case study demonstrates the benefits of digital FW tracking system, including the FW reduction of 60.7%, better real-time visibility of the FW hotspots, reasons for waste generations, reliable data, operational improvements, and employee behavioral transformation. Although the system replaced the paper-based manual system of tracking FW in the factory, it still needed human input to confirm the waste and was prone to human errors. Overall, the implementation of an IoT-based FW tracking system resulted in a reduction of FW and created a positive environmental and financial impact.
Thank you so much, Maha. Thank you. So as you've heard, we are talking about how we can calculate how much food is wasted and how we can monitor it with Internet of Things to supply that information to a food supply chain. Now, this is the abstract of a research paper. What I would like to do, I would like all of you to do is to create an outline. Excluding the abstract, I want you to create an outline with the introduction. It depends on you. You want to make two subsections for introduction. You want to make just one with the methodology, with the results, with the findings. If everyone can open their Word documents, please let me know, or otherwise I'll copy paste the outline on the chat, and then you can continue to make it.
Okay. Can everyone tell us if they can access the Word document that Tabish shared earlier? Maybe Tabish, you can share it again, just for the people that did not see it earlier.
Word document is not shown in the chat box though.
It's not shown. Okay. Habiba, let's.
Yeah, I'll share this. 1 second.
I'm sending it again. Let's see if you see it now.
I'll just share the text if. Okay, so I shared the outline.
Okay, just thank you, Tabish and Habiba.
Yeah.
So just to go over the task again, everyone, what we want you to do is
you have to create an outline.
Subdivide all that paragraph into these subsections here. So you have to assign that text to intro or methodology.
And remember about the COVID-19 vaccinations. So in the introduction, why did you choose that topic? Why was that particular topic chosen? Let's say it was because of food waste. What would be the methodology? It's IoT. So maybe you can take it from there, and you can absolutely copy text from here. Let me just show you. Okay. Accidentally. So if anyone is having trouble completing this activity, please let me know.
Did we write our answers in the chat box?
Yes, you can if you choose to.
Okay, so all the process should be based on the paragraph that you've given?
Yes. Because like we said, this is the abstract. The abstract contains the entire research topic, the results, the findings. So you have technically everything that you require.
So we have to create an outline, right?
Yeah, basically what you're going to do is that those subsections that are there, like introduction, results, methodology, you have to identify from this paragraph here that's displayed what goes where. So does the first line go into introduction, or where does it go? That's basically what we want you to do. Just figure out what goes where.
Let me just, I think we have a minute or two left.
That's okay. How about this, Habiba? Why don't we just tell one person to identify the introduction?
Yeah, we'll divide these subcategories. So we have 3 of those. Just as an FYI, the conclusion, future work, and references, they won't change. So you don't have to worry about those, but do focus on the introduction and methodology. Again, focus on food waste, maybe history of IoT. What is the monitoring system they're trying to study? We also have the case study of ready meal factory.
If anyone's already done with the introduction, they can also just volunteer to write in the chat box.
Okay, so generation of food waste. Yes, Anna is on the right track. Again, the subsections does not have to follow the outline that I shared. You can have one subsection, you can have 2.1 or 2.2, you can even have 2.4. It depends on you entirely.
Thanks, Anna, for that.
Would anyone want to talk about the methodology? Anything that they found regarding IoT, where it would fit? Just type it in. Again, there are no wrong answers, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I think the time's up, so let's call out on people to take a guess.
And no one freak out. Like, you can be wrong, you can be right. There's absolutely no wrong answer anyway, so Habiba, go ahead.
Why don't you pick someone?
Okay. How about Nimel Wakar? Nimel, are you there?
Okay, let's pick someone else.
Right. Huda, how about you? Huda, are you there?
Okay. Do we have another here to answer that question?
Yes.
We'll move on to the answer. This is a bit of a tough task, so we'll do it together. But if anyone wants to share anything, just go ahead, write it in the chat, raise your hand.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to unmute your mic and speak. Just type it out if you want. There's also Arslan. Did you join us recently? I think I didn't see him earlier. Arslan, do you want to say something? Wow, everyone's kind of quiet right now.
Okay, no worry. Let's go through the outline together. So the introduction that I talked about talking about the background of the research topic, making sure you know the context of the topic, making sure you know the background, you've done your literature review. So the introduction for this would be 1.1, food waste is a global issue, like Anna wrote. Then we'll have overview of IoT and food waste. So food waste and IoT are the 2 main things that we're discussing in this paper. So we have literature review for those. Then we move on to methodology, which is, again, on this line, you can say IoT-based FW monitoring system. What is the design? They needed the real-time data for FSCs. Then we move to another methodology that they performed, this actual experiment, which was case study of the ready meal factory. What were the overview and challenges? And what are the benefits of FW traffic tracking system, which is FW reduction of 60.7%, better real-time visibility. And then we have results and discussion where they'll be analyzing the data, providing their interpretation, and then the conclusion and future work and references. So if anyone has any question regarding this outline, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'll continue with the next slide. Okay. So moving on to language for a research paper. Now there are multiple things that you need to make sure while writing a research paper. So sometimes we use the personal pronouns like I or we or us. So these personal pronouns will actually steal attention away from the research paper. The focus of the communication should always be the research. So avoid personal pronouns at all costs and avoid verbs like I think, believe, maybe. We are supposed to write a research paper with facts, evidence, stats, data. So let's go with the first don't, which is I think. That would eventually turn into studies prove, because we have the evidence, we performed research, we have sources, we have results that back our evidence, back our claims. Then we have we believe, which eventually turns to results show. Then we have the phrase for the past couple of years. Now, in reality, this does not have anything wrong with it, except for the fact that instead of saying past couple of years, let's say your paper was published in 2020. For some people, past couple of years means 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. So it's better to always add the number for the past 4 years, so that it's clear. This also sets the tone for your research paper. So people are going to judge how formal your tone is, how you're managing to keep your biases out of it, how you manage to keep your opinions out of it. We also have in this report, I'll talk about, again, the use of I, the use that you are going to do something out of your personal opinion. We are doing that to write the research report, but for now, we're focused on the research itself. So we talk about this report demonstrates. Then we move on to we wanted to show. Would anyone like to speak out on what should be the do for this? We wanted to show. What's wrong here and what can we write instead? So Afifa, go ahead and pick someone. I can't see the name of the volunteer.
Furqan, do you want to go ahead?
Ultra gay.
Furqan, are you there? Okay, it seems he's not there. How about Anna?
Sure, what do I have to do?
Yeah,
what's
sorry.
wrong with the phrase we wanted to show?
You see
So over here, the we wanted to show, what do you think is wrong with this one?
It's like it is focusing on us more than the report. So can we say that the report would like to demonstrate, or this report would like to elaborate?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It could be this, it could be the aim of this experiment. You use words like demonstrates, show, prove, provide evidence to make sure that it's more technical, that it's more concise. Then we have the word that we don't ever use, which is in my opinion. Now you'll actually discuss your results and you'll say, okay, I think this is the way it should be. But instead of saying that, there's another way to make sure that you avoid all kind of biases is, it is recommended. Then we move on to a few pointers that you have to remember when writing a research report is that you avoid vague sentences. So make sure that you don't add filler. Sometimes, you have to fill the word limit. So you start saying, however, henceforth, therefore, since we are using this. Just eliminate those transition words. Make sure that your statement talks about an idea, it presents the evidence, and it concludes the sentence. It has to be backed by facts and evidence. It does not have to be vague at all. You also need to spell out acronyms whenever you write them in the sentence for the first time. So if you remember the abstract, the food waste for FW, the IoT for Internet of Things, SFCs for food supply chains, they always spelled it out the first time and then use the acronym later so that it's easier for the reader to remember all of that. Then we have create a glossary. So you'll be using technical jargon, some words that readers might not understand. If you think it's too difficult or it's something that they might not be able to Google, you create a glossary and you define the terms over there so a person can always refer back to the report and understand what it means. And then you have, whenever you write or present data in the form of lists, tables, or pie charts, make sure that you introduce them, make sure that you number them. Let's say you have on page 10, you're talking about a figure that's on page 2. Now, you can't write that figure on page 2. You'll just simply say figure number 2, and the reader can refer back to it. So then we move on to elements of a paragraph. Now, when you're writing a research report, your paragraph might be, let's say, it depends on the sections. So for your introduction, the subheading might require 4 paragraphs to talk about one single point. It should always start by introducing the topic or idea, which is known as the topic sentence. It needs to be clear, concise, just written in one word, so that the reader knows what they're going to read about. They already have an idea of what you're going to talk about. Then that is followed by an analysis of data, evidence that supports your claim. You provide results, you provide percentage, accuracy rates, whatever you want to present to make sure that you are relating the sentences together. And then you end it with a summary of the entire paragraph in one sentence. Now, as it seems, this seems like a very easy job. So let's take a look at this paragraph. Now, this paragraph has a lot of mistakes. Multiple ones from especially the previous slides that we did. I want all of you to note down the mistakes that you can find right now, and then we'll call out one by one. Instead of writing it in the chat box, let's say them out loud. There are multiple things wrong with it. So you have to remember the vocabulary, you have to remember the acronym, the introduction of lists, ambiguity, you have to remember what a paragraph should look like. So I'll give everyone 5 minutes to take a look at it, and then we'll call people out to share what's wrong with this. Okay, I think everyone would have read the paragraph. Does anyone want to take a guess at one thing that might be wrong in here?
Has raised the hand.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I think the use of firstly, secondly, and thirdly is wrong here.
Yes, absolutely. It's nails on a chalkboard for us. No, that's completely wrong. Next, anyone want to take a guess?
Maybe Abdullah, you can go ahead. Okay, it seems Abdullah is not around. How about Manahil?
Yes, okay, so I'll just mention 2 mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So firstly, I think there's not a proper introduction in this paragraph, in this abstract. There should be a kind of a proper introduction for the abstract. And secondly, they did not mention food waste. Like they just directly said FW.
Perfect.
So yeah,
That's perfect.
that's it.
Okay, who else wants to take another guess?
No volunteers?
No volunteers? Should we pick another one?
Sunil has posted to me privately, but I don't know if she wants to speak.
Could have some informal, questionable phrasing. Wait, who sent this?
This paragraph is organized.
Yeah, Anna, go ahead.
It's not organized. It does not have any proper introduction.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. Afifa, what did she write on the chat? Could you also read it out loud?
She's written questionable phrasing and could have sounds informal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
So Huda has raised the hand earlier. Huda, you want to speak?
Yeah, the points I wanted to raise were that, first of all, this paragraph doesn't have one exact point. Like, it has 3 points, and it has a conclusion that doesn't really conclude anything.
Yeah.
Every paragraph should focus on one point, what I think. And the vocabulary here, like FW and everything, IoT should be emphasized more or something.
Okay.
I think.
Thank you.
That's actually brilliant. That's a really good point. You
So
should have like a running idea that goes into your entire paragraph, so it shouldn't be all over the place.
does anyone else want to add anything
Well,
else?
Abdullah just messaged that his Wi-Fi is a bit slow. Abdullah, if your Wi-Fi is okay now, you can respond, or you can take a minute to respond. In the meantime, someone else can respond.
Also, I would like to add that each of the points should be like elaborated a bit more to make sense actually, because
Okay.
they just stated like facts.
Okay.
It should be more elaborated or something.
Do you feel like you don't get the entire context of what is being talked about here?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. I think what everyone said was absolutely correct. First of all, the formatting, it's all over the place. As soon as you start a paragraph, you're supposed to make sure that it has a topic sentence. Even if they're talking about 3 different points, they're supposed to mention them at the very beginning of the sentence. And the amount of firstly, secondly, thirdly, try to avoid as many transition words as you can. A sentence, I know that we all have this ability of using however, firstly, but try to make sure that the sentence flows naturally instead of with these words. Again, with the acronyms FW, IoT, FSCs, none of this has been spelled out. So a person who's reading it for the first time would be very confused with what is being said. And again, with the last sentence, it's concluding the entire paragraph. We don't know what they're talking about, but apparently it has already ended. And then it also says, and least input from us humans. So we avoid personal pronouns. We make sure that the focus is on the research. Now let's take a look at what this paragraph would have looked like if it was properly formatted. Okay, can someone read it out for me? Afifa, can you pick a volunteer?
Okay. Namal, are you there? I feel like Namal and Sahar are a bit, their Wi-Fi is a bit slow. Okay, let's go for Abdullah if you can. Okay, Namal's like she can't speak right now, no worries. Abdullah also has slow Wi-Fi. Let's go with Anna.
What do we have to do here? I couldn't
just read the paragraph that you can see.
Okay. Implementing Internet of Things techniques can allow food supply chains (FSCS) to achieve global food security by reducing dependency on vital resources and enhancing the greening of the supply chain.
Perfect. So we have the topic sentence that introduces the topic, that gives you the context of what they're going to be talking about. They're saying that we should implement these techniques so that we, for better economic considerations, and also to make sure that food is not wasted. Now, Anna, could you continue reading this sentence as well? Anna, I think your mic is on mute. Okay, we can pick someone else to read it out loud.
Yeah. How about Manahil?
Yes, sure. A significant amount of food waste is edible food. This is often disposed of as animal feed or for energy recovery via anaerobic digestion due to economic considerations. Refraining from these practices could have saved 870,000 tons a year of avoidable food waste.
Okay, so now we have the data to back our evidence and claims. We're talking about our research. We're talking about we have sources to prove that this problem is not being solved. Could you read the next text as well, Manahil?
Yes. The 9-stage categorization of generated food waste presented by Garcia 2017 does not explain the reasons behind the generation of food waste.
And now here we have the evidence that the previous model did not work, which is why we need IoT techniques to solve this problem. Again, Manahil, if you could continue the last sentence.
The FSCs therefore need to implement IoT techniques to track waste and manage inventory without minimum input for humans.
Thank you, Manahil. So here we have the summary. So again, building upon what Huda said. So sometimes this, for example, this paragraph is taken from 4 different paragraphs. So you still might feel that some of the context is missing, but if the 4 paragraphs would be there, you would be able to understand that the last sentence is a summary, is a conclusion of what we actually talked about in the very beginning. So this is what a properly formatted, a clear, concise paragraph would look like. And as you can see, if there's one thing that's very obvious is they only use therefore at the very end. They didn't use firstly, secondly, they didn't try to connect the paragraphs by different words, by transitioning or anything. The information, the sentences are flowing easily from one to another. So that's about it for creating outlines and structuring paragraphs. Now we have a 10-minute break. So you guys can go ahead and drink a cup of chai if you'd like.
Yeah, just be back by 7:30, hopefully.
So we have to leave or we have to stay?
No, you stay. Just put yourself on mute and you can like relax if you want to talk or if you have any questions, you can do that too. We're here.
Sure.
Is everyone on a winter break this right now?
Yep, we are.
Yeah.
And how long will it last?
Maybe
Till 3rd of January.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, clearly.
I swear, the number of trolls on here.
I feel like you shouldn't let them in the meeting.
I think you should lock the meeting.
Yeah, you should.
Probably, honestly, at this point.
Tavish, has that happened previously as well?
So he provided his introduction.
Oh, he did?
So he's a student. So from Pakistan.
Okay. Just don't know what to say at this point.
It has never happened before. I've attended many workshops before. This is the first time I'm experiencing this.
Okay, great. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe because I think that was in other workshops, they usually block entry halfway through, like you can't just enter and leave, right?
Yeah.
Guys.
So sometimes what they do is like they stop letting people in if you can decide like we can't let them in after half an hour. So people just stop them.
Yeah, I think we can do that now because I don't see the point.
Yeah. So whoever is joining in between, they just provide their introductions. If we can't find them on the list, so I kicked one because he couldn't provide his introduction.
Yeah, this is just fun. Exactly, Anna. It's not funny. It's really annoying because we're having a workshop and
Well, at some point.
You should have just done that thing where we don't let people in the middle of the workshop.
Yeah. It is, yes.
Exactly.
Disrespectful overall. So what hobbies did you guys pick up in COVID? I know this is a very COVID quarantine question. Apart from writing novels, which I still find it really cool.
Has anyone done the banana bread thing? The banana bread
Yeah,
trend?
I did it.
Yeah, me too.
How did it go?
That and
it came out delicious.
It's really good. I love banana bread.
The diagonal coffee? I tried that. Honestly, I don't understand like what's the difference.
I overdosed on it for like a month straight.
I really like dalgona coffee, but it's too much work.
Yeah.
What else did you guys do? Painting? What else is there?
I'm into painting and I do poetry as well.
Nice, that's amazing. So are you all writers here?
I do write sometimes, but mostly I like editing. stuff.
Okay.
Right, I think
And
that's
Editing as in? Could you elaborate a bit on that?
yeah, editing videos and pictures.
oh nice.
Nice.
That's like a really great
can
thing to
maybe-
be doing nowadays because you have content creators and all of that. That's really useful for that.
Yeah. And even draw. Sometimes I do draw.
Yeah, I mean, drawing is fun. Like I do drawing and stuff, but I'm not great at it, so
Yeah,
I
no,
don't. Yeah, I just keep it to myself.
as I actually we go ahead.
No, you can speak.
No, it's okay. So we got a 500 puzzle piece during like the earlier months of Corona, and to be honest, I would recommend that to everyone. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so Sahar just said that is a girl, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So she likes playing football, which is really cool. And Abdullah is like he loves YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has some really diverse things that you can do.
Manahil firstly started painting and sketching realistic sceneries and also started practicing calligraphy. That's really cool, Manahil.
Calligraphy is super amazing, yeah.
Also very difficult.
Honestly, a lot of these things are really difficult, but yeah, when artists mess up anything, they just start calling it abstract. They just call anything art. I mean, art is, I guess, the intention behind what they were trying to do, but
I like to play football before quarantine. I dropped it eventually, what with lockdowns and all. I think they have started the sports week at PYF. If any one of you is interested, they have badminton sessions. So if you'd like to join.
Well, after COVID, I stopped every outdoor activity.
yeah, that's true. A lot of us just don't go out so much anymore.
We have 4 minutes left for the break.
You know what I find really cool is that everyone started cooking.
Yeah.
In lockdown with the people that didn't even really enter the kitchen before, so that was really interesting.
I think all our moms are very happy with that development. MCU series.
Yeah,
I am a huge Marvel fan. I love comic books. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm sorry for the
yes,
pick
we're
up.
gonna talk about it for 2 hours, guys. I think we can close this workshop now.
I didn't really develop a hobby during quarantine. I've been into painting. Yes, I started white material. Yeah, exactly. My mom is like, learn everything that you can.
Yeah, I think all of us tried a lot of stuff that we hadn't tried before. I think Ertugrul, okay, you know what? It's so long and it's I've heard so many things. I want to try it, but I think there's like 10 seasons, and each episode is 40 minutes or 1.5 hour long. I'm not sure. Yeah, it just seems super long.
I literally completed the whole series of Dirilish Ertugrul.
Oh, okay. How many seasons is it?
It's like almost 5 seasons.
Oh.
And there are 80 episodes.
150 episodes, and each episode of 2 hours.
What?
Yeah, that was.
And yes, I just completed the whole series in like almost a month, like 25
Okay,
days.
that's a record. That goes into the Guinness World Record or something.
I know. Anna's saying who watches anime. Okay, Anna, the thing is, I tried watching Death Note. Just didn't love the whole.
No, everyone loves it.
Oh no, Death Note is so intense. That's a really bad anime to start with.
Don't hate me. I didn't love the whole. It felt repetitive to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it was actually.
I'll suggest you to watch Attack on Titan. It's really nice.
Maybe Attack on Titan is also a bit aggressive, I would think, for starters. So probably watch like.
Naruto is okay then for starters.
I'll give Attack on Titan a try.
Let me think.
It's good the next time we meet up. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Oh, Black Widow to March 2021.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, but I am really excited. Has anyone seen the Wanda and Vision trailer? I love it. I'm very excited for it. Again, I'm talking about MCU, and Afifa is really disappointed, but I'm a huge fan.
No, it's okay. Go right ahead.
Stranger
Things is okay. I loved it at first.
I'll be honest. Like the 80s vibe, it was okay the first season.
No, it was cool.
But they kept dragging it out.
I think I got a little not so interested in it after season 3.
You guys, if you're writers or if you're interested in storytelling, do watch Dark on Netflix. It's a German TV show and it's really good. It's really, really good. It's about time travel. It's
Yeah, I watched it. It was so good.
Oh, finally, you're the first Desi person I've met who's watched Dark, because I can't convince people, but it's so good.
Well, it's on my list.
It took me a lot of time to analyze it and understand it. I was like watching it again and again. What did it mean actually?
Okay. And also, it's a bit depressing. I would say it is actually dark, like its name. So, okay, so you guys,
I kind of felt it. It was like more like Stranger Things, like the vibes of it and the colors and the theme.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I got recommended by Stranger Things. I just ended up loving it even more.
Exactly.
Guys, 10 minutes are over. We'll be continuing with the plagiarism next. And let me just share my screen.
I love how Abdullah is asking, is anyone on the Discord MCM server? Habiba, you can answer this. I'm not even sure I know about that.
No, I'm not.
Sorry, Abdullah. We'll check it out after
I was just
this.
about to ask who has played Among Us, but our 10 minutes are over, so let's go on.
We can answer that after the workshop is up.
Okay, Afifa, go ahead.
So, okay, who here can tell me the meaning of the word plagiarism or what it means to them? Volunteers? You can type it out, or I'm going to pick on someone in like 5 seconds. Copying the work of someone else, yes, exactly. So do you think copying 5 words from someone else is copying? Is it considered plagiarism or is it not? Just, okay, without giving credit. Even with giving credit, if I just copy paste, I go to Wikipedia and I copy paste the first line. Do you think that is plagiarism even if I'm giving credit to Wikipedia? So let me pick on Anna. What do you think? If I go to Wikipedia and I just copy paste the first line and I give credit to Wikipedia, is that plagiarism or not?
That's not plagiarism because you did give credit to Wikipedia.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Anna. Now I'm gonna butcher your reply a little to tell you that is copying someone's work even if you gave them credit. So that is plagiarism. I love how Abdullah is having a side conversation about Discord, and I'm very interested in what that is.
Come back, Abdullah. Let's do all this.
We'll discuss Discord right after we finish. So plagiarism, even if you go and copy more than 4 words together from someone and you give them credit, that's still wrong and you're still not allowed to do that, and you'll actually get in trouble for that in college. So what you need to do is read the sentence and switch it around so that it's the exact same meaning, but it's not the exact same words. Like, I think, who was it, Nimel or someone who literally, I guess, maybe read this definition or maybe she didn't, and she wrote copying someone's work. So that's called paraphrasing, and what she did was right. Now that is not plagiarism. So let's move on to, sorry. Yeah.
Plagiarism. Will it be considered as plagiarism, like if we take someone's words but twist them a bit?
Yeah. So twist them a bit. How?
Like if we go to the definition of plagiarism on Wikipedia, it says the practice of taking someone else's work or idea.
Right.
Like if you just say copying someone else's work or like stealing someone else's work, will that still be plagiarism? Like, I did change the words, right? A few words in it.
So if you change words around, as in if they're not in the same order. Of course, they have to make sense. I'm assuming you're gonna make sense in your sentence. But if you switch around the order or change one or two words with the same meaning, then it's not plagiarism. And of course, you have to make sure that you give credit. So whatever you do, give credit, change the word. So I have an activity for you guys here. Do you see these two lines? This we went to Wikipedia, we just copy and pasted. And I'm telling you it's from Wikipedia, I can put in that reference there, but this would still be plagiarism because I just copied and pasted. What I want you guys to do is take the first sentence, rewrite it so that it means the same thing, but it's not those words, okay? And I want you to do that same thing with the second sentence. So can everyone do that now and write it in the chat?
I'll just stop the share because I think people cannot access the document to share the link for a plagiarism checker.
Right, but can you send them this? Wait, let me send them this paragraph because I don't think they can see it.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen, so
all right.
1 second. Okay, here you go. So just paraphrase the whole paragraph and make sure you'll be asked to add this to a plagiarism checker, which will give you a percentage of how good it is.
Yeah, so what I want to go over, thank you Habiba for sharing the link. So when you go to college or basically after you graduate and you write anything, the idea is how do they even know that you're copying? Because you might have copied from some source somewhere in some part of Google and you're just assuming they don't know about it. So what every single university, college, pretty much every person does out there to check if someone has copied someone's work is they have these tools. This link here that Habiba has shared is a plagiarism checker. Basically, you have these tools that just check everything on the internet to see if anything's copied. So they'll 100% all the time always know that you're copying. This used to happen to us, Habiba, right? In our university, they'd check our lab reports, they'd check all our papers, they check every single thing to ensure that we haven't copied lines or phrases from anyone else. So even if you had previous lab reports from our seniors, even that we couldn't copy, because once someone uploads their intellectual property or writing on the internet, on those plagiarism websites, then that is automatically on the internet. So you can't even copy from your seniors, like previous lab reports, everything you have to rewrite. So if you guys are done rewriting, well, I'll give you 2 or 3 more minutes. But once you're done, I want you to open that link, copy, paste whatever you've written inside that plagiarism checker.
And then you'll see a button at the end. It will say check plagiarism. So make sure you click it. It will show you the percentage below.
Yeah, let me know when you guys are done or close to being done. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I can share my screen and show you how it works. So also what you can do is when you're submitting like some report or some paper in university or college, you can go to these websites. These are free to check if your work is plagiarized, because sometimes you might have similar phrases that you didn't necessarily copy, but they show up as plagiarism. So you just want to be sure. So check, because there's actually a lot of, I'd say, bad implications or consequences of copying someone's work. It can even go as far as getting kicked out of university, right, Habiba?
Yes.
Like you'd get, depending on the level of copying you've done, obviously, you could get a horrible grade. You could fail in your courses, or you could get kicked out of university. So this is a really big issue that a lot of people actually face.
And also in general universities, their plagiarism percentage, your plagiarism checker should show less than 10%. So anything above 25% is considered complete cheating, complete rip-off. So just make sure you'll be provided a software from your university, most probably, where you'll be able to check it. So if everyone can write the percentage they got in the chat, so we can start seeing the results, even if you have a high plagiarism.
Yeah, we're not. But
We-
there
we-
would be same sentence.
No, we won't.
So Abdullah, what you're saying is there won't be a same sentence like yours exactly out there, because what we're trying to tell you here is that, for example, let's read this first line: food waste or food loss is food that is not eaten, right? How would you rewrite it to mean the same thing? So how about I write it here? Food that is not consumed is called food waste or food loss. Okay, and I'm sending it on the chat, everyone. That this sentence that I wrote exactly means this in first sentence here, right? In activity 4. It means the same thing, but it's not copying. Why? Because I rephrased it. So the idea of how you don't copy is basically you want to ensure that you rewrote it such that it means the same thing. So does anyone have, for the first sentence, something they rewrote and can share with us?
Shares that she has 0% plagiarism. Manahil, why don't you read it out loud?
Yeah. Or just, if you want, you can copy paste it in the chat box.
Yes, all right. I'll just copy paste my paragraph.
Thank you, Manahil. How about Anna? Do you have the first sentence rewritten?
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. I will join again. I'm having some audio issues.
No worries. Huda, are you there? Oh, thanks, Anna. Food that we waste or lost non-intentional, it's not even. Okay, really, really good try, Anna. Love that. Just, I want to point out one thing. For research papers in hard sciences, we try to avoid using the word we. That's it. Other than that, it was a really good try, and I don't think you'd have a lot of plagiarism there.
Manahil has a very, very good paragraph written. The food that is not being eaten is known as food waste. There are many different causes of food waste, such as during the time of manufacturing, processing, selling, and consumption. I like that you changed retail into selling.
Yeah, good job. See, this is what we mean. You just need to change things around. Nimal, do you want to have a go at it? How about Abdullah?
Okay.
Okay, take your time, Abdullah. No, take your time. No worries. Okay, let's see. Maha, did you get a chance to do this?
I just joined now. I was having some audio issues. I
No,
could not hear
no
you.
worries. Take your time.
What am I supposed to do?
Just rephrase. You can just do this for the first line actually here. Just rephrase it so that it's not copying, right? And then we want you to, do you see the, let me resend the link here. We want you to open the link that I'm just going to send again and copy paste that on there and share with us how much plagiarism you have. The percentage will show at the bottom of the page. Okay, in the meantime, let's see. Who did we not pick on yet? I don't know if Sahar is still here.
Yeah. I don't, has Sarah written in the chat?
Not yet.
Afifa, 5 minutes of the activity are up. Just
Okay, let's move on, but you guys get the idea, hopefully. So this is what we had rewritten, and this also got 0% plagiarism. So kind of on the same level as Manahil, so good job. And now we're gonna move on to, I guess, results, conclusions, and future work.
okay, so with the results, I'm going to dive deep into one activity. So make sure that you read what's written on the screen right now. When you present results, you have to make sure that as soon as you collect data and present it in the form of graphs, charts, pie charts, you add a short description after that in the form of text. And it's better to go with results one by one. So if you have one graph, why don't you introduce it, number it, explain the findings, and then move to the second result and explain the findings. And if you think that two different data sets or two different graphs have a correlation, add them together, number them, and explain your findings. Results and discussions, they might be in the same section, or you'll have a different section for discussion, but basically here, you're supposed to link the findings. You're supposed to say, this is why I chose the topic, my research topic. This is why, like, let's say you get a 95.95% accuracy, then you'll say this technology or this particular design that we're using is the one that is perfect because it has 99.95% accuracy. So a good idea to write about results or to get into finding it easier to write about would be to just look at your data, look at the table, look at the graph, write about it for 5 minutes. Just write as much as you can. And then once you're done, just read through it. What are the correlations you can find? What is something that you can investigate further? What is something that you don't understand or you think the reader won't understand? So let me just share these graphs with you. You have to choose A, B, C, D. One of them, two of them, three of them, four of them, it's up to you. I would recommend choosing C and D together or A separately. I want you to look at this set, even if it's something as clear as the top 5 dates for food waste. What 5 dates are they talking about? What were the reasons of food waste? Which had the higher percentage? Which had the lower percentage? Just write it down for 2-3 minutes, and then I'll ask one or two of you to read out your results out loud. So if you have any questions regarding this activity, just ask me away right now or just write it in the chat box. And just start typing in Microsoft Word. If you have a notepad with you, it's up to you.
Did everyone understand what we're expecting from this activity, what we want to do?
Let me just take a look at the chat.
Damel, do you mean you didn't understand what you want to do? Like what you have to do? Okay, I'll just go over it again.
That everyone understood, and then we'll randomly pick on people to write about them. Make sure you write anything and everything that you understand. It does not technically have to be related to each other. We're just trying to help you come up with sentences, come up with how you would create short explanations for results. It could really, really be as simple as explaining what's written. Maybe the sum of cost, maybe equipment failure. What does it mean? How is it related to D?
Can you explain what we have to do in this activity, because your voice was laggy? I'm so sorry.
No problem. So for this activity, you need to choose either A, B, or C, or D, or 2 or 3 of them. Just make sure that you write about the data for as long as you want, for maybe 2 minutes. Find out the correlation, find out what, let's say, A represents. What is it talking about? What year is it targeting? What is the main topic over here? Or with C, what are the reasons for food waste? Which is the highest, which is the lowest? How is it related to departmental or food waste value? So just write about your data as much as you can.
Oh, okay. So like we can choose any data from here, right?
Any data, anything that you want, anything that you're comfortable with.
Thank you so much.
And these pie charts and graphs are a great way. Again, these visual elements are required if you're writing results. Someone who does not want to read the text, and we do have people who are just skimming through the paragraph, who are skimming through the research paper. They just want to see which is the majority, which is the minority, where do you have high accuracy, which has 90% above. So this will help them find their answers. We have to make sure that our research paper is for the one who wants to read it all over again, or for the one who just wants to skim through it. Okay, so if anyone has come up with something, why don't you type it in the chat box? Anything regarding A or regarding D, C? C is definitely the easier one.
Habiba, why don't we share like one of our observations from this graph? So they can work off that.
You're looking at number A. We're looking at the top. Trim waste is highest relative to other factors. That's correct. Neimer wrote that trim waste is highest relative to other factors for C, which is absolutely correct.
Perfect.
That's great. So I would encourage everyone to just look at what Neimer wrote. This is a perfect representation of what we're looking at.
You know what's a good idea or a way that you can do this, just so you actually almost always get high marks in terms of reports and research papers? The idea is that you start comparing between one graph and the other. So do a comparison. Don't just focus on one graph and try to figure that out. Just try to connect different graphs together. That's a really nice way of doing analysis.
I would encourage you to look at the departmental food waste value as well. Look at D, look at where we're losing a lot of food waste and how is it connected to reasons for food waste. We're worried about waste of CO2 because it's related to the research paper. We've added it in the appendix.
Maybe because of plants.
I'm sorry, Anna, could you say that again?
Okay.
Maybe because of plants. Plants need energy, right? To make food.
Yes. Okay, Abdullah, do you have anything from the graphs?
He's asking, why are we worried about waste of carbon dioxide? Habiba, do you have anything to respond to that?
No, because let's keep to the topic, everyone. We'll answer questions related to the research topic later on.
Okay. He might have misunderstood. I'm not sure.
Abdullah?
Because what we're talking about here is the equivalent food waste, CO2.
Yeah.
Wasted, not waste of carbon dioxide. So just to clarify.
Yes, they're just talking about the carbon dioxide emissions, not CO2
right.
waste.
Yes, exactly. So now, does anyone else have any input?
Manahil, do you have anything you want to add? Higher production of food produces high amount of food waste. Correct, absolutely correct. And Namal, over here, you can also connect that higher production of food can also be related to equipment failure, which is responsible for food waste, as you can see on the pie chart. So C and D are related like that as well. So I'll move on with the answers. For let's say A, you will have top 5 days for food waste in 2017 in the month of August. Now this has been arranged in descending order by sum of cost to show which dates have been the highest when it has cost the company the most amount of money. We also have the reasons for food waste, which were pointed out by Namal, that trim waste was most of the reason why the generated food was lost. We have production, a lot of food was wasted in production, and equipment failure could be responsible for a lot of it. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so now we come to conclusion. In conclusion, you have to basically recap your research topic. You have to restate your main points, the reasons why you chose that topic in particular, and then you have to connect your findings and results to it. You have to make sure that you repeat everything, but make sure that it does not have all the details that have already been provided in the paper. So you write abstract for someone to convince them to read the research paper, but you write conclusion for the person who has read the research paper. An abstract is like a summary of the conclusion itself. So conclusion is longer than abstract, but it has the same format structure where you should not introduce new information. New information only goes for future work. Over here, you'll explain the limitations in your experiment. Let's say if you had an 80% accuracy, why do you think that was? Maybe it was related to an instrument, maybe it was related to the environment. But make sure that you don't focus too much on your weaknesses. You are supposed to talk about concrete evidence. Like if we used A, we could get B. Instead of saying, oh, we used A, so this is bad, this is why we got accuracy. Make sure you don't undermine your success, undermine your research paper with your future work. And you can also always mention there are different proposals, different techniques to combat those challenges to make sure that you get, let's say, better results for the next time that the experiment is performed. Then we have references, and I'll hand it over to Afifa.
Okay, this has more to do with, again, plagiarism or you copying someone else's work. The first idea is not to copy paste more than 5 words together in a row. But the other idea is obviously you have to give credit. Now, how do you give credit to someone? You give credit to someone by citing. The word is citation, right? So there are different formats or there are different ways to give credit to someone, right? So over here, if you can see copy citation, you see the words MLA, APA, Chicago. So they're different formats. These are different formats, MLA, APA, Chicago. Depending on the major you're in or the field you're in, that would obviously change. For example, if you're in the medical field or if you're a major in biology, you'd probably end up using the AMA format. If you're an engineer, you're generally using IEEE format. So these formats are something that they'll teach you in university. But just to give you a head start, what you can do is you can actually just Google these formats. But I want to share something that's actually pretty cool. And this is something that most of us did not really use until the end of our university years. But I'll tell you why it's important, because most of us, what we used to do is we'd go online, we'd be like, oh, this is how you're supposed to write these references. And then we'd start writing these references. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's see. This is, can everyone see my screen? It's Medley desktop. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So can someone give me a topic in the chat? Just any topic. Okay, I don't. Habiba, I can't see the chat, so if you could read out something.
COVID. Abdullah wrote anything related to COVID.
Okay, great. So I'm going to type COVID here. By the way, what this application is, it's called Mendeley Desktop. And why am I telling you about this? Is basically you just go type this on Google. It takes 5 minutes to download. And you go to literature search here. You just type, your professor or your teacher told you, oh, I want you to write about COVID. You write COVID here. You get a whole bunch of journal articles or papers here. Let's say I want to look at just recent trends in COVID, right? So what am I going to do? This is actually right here. It's in this journal right here, blah, blah. You can read the abstract here, see if this is what you want. You just save this reference. Now, this is the cool bit that I want to show you. You go to a Word document. Can everyone see my Word document here?
No, Afifa.
Okay, let me reshare my screen.
Click on desktop.
Yeah, just here. Okay. So everyone can see my Word here, right? So you're technically going to be writing on Word a lot. And you want to cite, or basically you want to reference, which is something you'll have to do a lot. You just type in this COVID thing that you had. You just click on OK. IEEE is the format that I'm using. I can change it to anything I want. Your professor will tell you what this is. And now you just click on insert bibliography. What this whole thing showed you is how to just reference, and it did it automatically. What we, our personal experience or something we didn't know, we used to do it manually. Like imagine writing this out manually. You have all this information there, but it's in a specific way that you have to write it. So that takes ages. So that's why I'm telling you about Mendeley Desktop, because you can use this application to just do it, because usually you have upwards of 30 different things that you have to cite. And this application just does it for you automatically. So that's something about referencing. Maybe we can go back to the presentation now. Also, you have different applications for this. You have Zotero, you have EndNote. So they'll tell you about this in university, and you're probably not going to pay attention to it because none of us did, honestly, in our times. But I'm telling you right now, it's really useful, and it saves you a lot of time, because you're going to be wasting a lot of time on this and you're just going to be frustrated. So just a tip that use this instead of getting frustrated. Let's move on to the appendix. So,
Okay. You're going to continue, Afifa?
Right. Basically, the appendix is anything that is not important enough. So it comes at the end of any research paper, any report, whatever you're writing. And what it is anything that is information that you'd like your reader or your audience to know, but it's not very important. So you don't want them to waste their time reading it in the main content of your report or whatever. So you put it at the end. And if they feel like referring to it, you can write in your actual text or paragraph that refer to it in the appendix. And if they want to, they can go and look at it in the appendix. So we actually have one here that is something that we thought you should look at, but not necessary to the actual workshop.
So with that, we have covered the 5 different elements that we talked about in the table of contents. Before we end this workshop, there are a few different points that you should remember, which is that make sure what Afifa said, format your paper with the given guidelines. It's APA, IEEE, it depends on your professor. So whatever they say, make sure you read about it. It could be as simple as margins. It could be indenting your paragraph. It could be using a different font. Make sure you follow it from the very beginning so you don't have to go back at the end to format it again. Then you also need to make sure that you find someone to peer review your research paper for you. There's some points that you might miss. There's some things, grammatical errors, spelling errors, or even a different point of view that you forgot to look at that someone might point it out to you. So make sure you ask your friends to go through your research paper to give you a fresh outlook on your paper. Then 12 points times New Roman is your friend. It's generally the one that's accepted. You don't know whether your professor will ask you to write a double-spaced paper or a single-spaced paper, but this font is the safest option.
Yeah, it's the universal font. This is the only accepted font in professional areas. When you're writing something. You're not allowed to use any other font. So make sure you don't, because it tends to piss off your professors, trust me. If
Don't
they
wanna
see a wrong font, they're just gonna be like, I don't even want to read this paper. Not really.
shame because there's so many different nice fonts, but it's okay. Also,
Yeah,
don't forget.
it's a boring font, but
Also, don't forget to include acknowledgements in the beginning of the paper. There will be a lot of people that will help you throughout your research. Maybe you'll get equipment from, let's say, a different university. Your friends will help you out here. Your professors will, your family will. So make sure that you add acknowledgements at the start of the paper. Also remember, acknowledgements and abstract come before table of contents. And so with that, I'd like to end the workshop. I want everyone to know that you can always reach out to us if you have any concern regarding writing a research paper. If you have something in mind that you can't find sources for, just send me or Afifa an email, or you can also reach out to PYF via email or Instagram. If you want to take a screenshot of this, go ahead. I'll just quickly go through the appendix.
also, can you guys stay on after so we can get your testimonials? We just want you to say something about what you learned from the workshop. So
5 more minutes with you guys. I would like to show an appendix as like supplementary information. So this is a paragraph that's important, but we added it in the end. These are the table of contents, what a research paper would look like. This is the appendix with all the references that we used. This is how you can do a targeted search on Google. And most importantly, I would love to talk about this, is don't make a table of contents yourself. Go to Word, click, choose your heading, click heading 1, like here, and then choose your subtopic, click heading 2. If it has a subtopic, click heading 3. Then you can move on to references over here. You can click table of contents and it will automatically generate it for you. So once you're done, once it has 20 pages or so, you can come back to it, right click and update, and you'll have the perfect table of contents ready for you. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you all for being here, but could at least 3 to 4 of you just write something that you learned from this workshop? What is your general feeling? What would you think you want to add to this workshop? Just whatever you feel about this workshop. Do I pick on people, or do you guys just want to go ahead and do this? All of you can do it, honestly.
Tabish just wrote that you can share your testimonial as soon as possible or by 6
Oh
p.m.
yeah, you can do that too.
Email us at pyfdubai@gmail.com along with a photo. That would be very helpful. If you have any key takeaways, if you have any comments, the floor is yours. If you have any queries.
Oh yeah, if you want to ask any questions right now, you guys go ahead.
Okay, so I think we did well. Nobody has any questions.
No, it's probably sleeping.
Okay, so thank you so much for attending. If someone is writing a testimonial, just go ahead and do it.
Does anyone want to say anything? You can just type bye in the chat if you want to leave.
They're still here, so let's just give it a minute.
Yeah, take your time. Just hanging in there. Oh, Anna, you have a very cute profile picture.
Thank you.
Okay. Abdullah wrote he learned how to search effectively on Google.
That's good to know.
Yes, inshallah, Maha.
Yeah.
Where do you plan on going into your university? Which major?
I actually am into fine arts. I'll go into fine arts.
Do you have a university in your mind?
Maybe NCU in Pakistan, Lahore.
That's good. No. So next year, maybe?
Yeah, next year, inshallah.
Inshallah. Good luck, Maha.
Thank you.
I learned a lot of stuff, like how to organize my work, and it will help me a lot in my future. Yes, hopefully, inshallah. A lot of this stuff, you'll actually be peer reviewing your article, or you'll actually just go through your research paper again. You know, one of the worst feelings in the world is reading your research paper like 10 times. You get so bored because you're supposed to find mistakes. You're supposed to make sure that it's perfect. So just keep these points in your mind and make sure the formatting is perfect, the writing is perfect.
Abdullah, so I don't know if you all noticed earlier, Abdullah went to paraphrase.com and paraphrased the activity we gave him. And do you know, Abdullah, why that doesn't work? Because it doesn't, almost always, that doesn't make sense. Sometimes people are pretty smart about copying other people's work, and so you can't get away with it. But you have to be really smart about it. So just maybe get smarter at copying. I don't know what to tell you. Just try not to do that.
Okay, Manahil says, I would just want to say that this workshop was really informative and interesting. I learned a lot. To be honest, I did not know much about research writing. I was a very bad research writer, but yes, I hope that stuff we learned in this workshop will help me in my future, inshallah. Thank you, Manahil.
Oh, thank you, Nemo. So Nemo is saying the workshop was informative, narrowed down important details and elements that should be present in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I hope you all found it really useful. It was really nice talking to you all. We can stay in touch through email.
If you have any questions, just get in touch.
Just a quick request. I think guys, these testimonies are really great. If you can share your photos as well with these testimonies, that would be great. So we can just post it on Insta stories.
Yeah, and hopefully tag you somehow if you want to be tagged.
Thank you, Anna.
You all were really good
participants. Very good at answering those questions. We know that it's a bit technical. It might get a bit difficult, but
yeah,
it's worth.
This was a bit technical workshop, but you know, maybe you'll appreciate it more because maybe you're at that level where you're not writing obviously research papers, but inshallah you'll appreciate it more in 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
Maybe now Abdullah can go back to discussing Discord. I still have to Google what that is.
That will be in the testimony.
Yes, discussing Discord.
Again, so Tabish, are we still waiting for the pictures?
Yeah, they could send it on the email, so it's fine. So we can close it now.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Afifa. Thank you, Habiba. I think it was really insightful and interesting. And all of you would find it later in your university or college life. It's going to be very useful for you. So I found it also, I learned a few things as well. So I just want to thank to everyone.
Thank you, Tabish. That means a lot. All right.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.